When night falls over the forests, farms, wetlands, and mountains of the Americas, thousands of bats leave their shelters and disappear into the darkness. Some are looking for insects. Others search for fruit, nectar, frogs, fish, or small animals. Bats are among the most diverse mammals on Earth, and they play important roles in nature by controlling insects, spreading seeds, and pollinating plants. But hidden among this enormous diversity are three extraordinary species that have followed a completely different evolutionary path. They survive by feeding on blood. Only 3 living bat species are true vampire bats: the common vampire bat, Desmodus rotundus, the white-winged vampire bat, Diaemus youngi, and the hairy-legged vampire bat, Diphylla ecaudata. Despite their frightening reputation, these animals are very different from the vampires of legend. They do not attack with enormous fangs, they do not drain their victims completely, and they usually try to feed without waking the animal at all. Their strategy depends on silence, precision, and a series of remarkable adaptations that allow a tiny mammal to survive on one of the strangest diets in nature. Blood may sound like a rich food source, but living exclusively on it is extremely difficult. It contains plenty of protein and water, but relatively little fat and carbohydrate. It also contains large quantities of iron and salts. A vampire bat therefore needs an extraordinarily specialized digestive system. After feeding, the bat has consumed a large amount of liquid compared with its own body weight. It must quickly remove excess water so that it can become light enough to fly normally again. Its kidneys and digestive system are highly adapted to this unusual lifestyle. The teeth are equally specialized. Vampire bats have extremely sharp incisors that can make a small, shallow cut in the skin. They do not normally sink long teeth deeply into their victim. Instead, they remove a tiny piece of skin and allow blood to reach the surface. Then they lap it with their tongue. Their saliva contains substances that prevent the blood from clotting too quickly. This allows blood to continue flowing from the small wound while the bat feeds. The first species, and by far the most famous, is Desmodus rotundus, the common vampire bat. It lives across large areas of Mexico, Central America, and South America. During daylight hours, colonies may hide inside caves, hollow trees, abandoned buildings, mines, tunnels, or other dark shelters. At night, they emerge to search for food. The common vampire bat is especially adapted to feeding on mammals. In areas where livestock is common, cows are among its most frequent targets. Imagine a quiet pasture in the middle of the night. A cow is lying on the ground or standing almost motionless. Everything seems calm. Somewhere in the darkness, a small bat approaches. Instead of flying directly onto the cow, the vampire bat may land nearby. This is where Desmodus becomes particularly unusual. Most people imagine bats as animals that are awkward when they are not flying. But the common vampire bat can move surprisingly well on the ground. Using its legs and powerful forelimbs, it can walk, run, hop, and quickly change direction. The bat moves toward the cow. Slowly, carefully, it investigates the animal and searches for an area where blood vessels lie close to the skin. Specialized heat-sensitive structures around the nose can help it identify warmer areas where blood flows near the surface. Once it finds the right place, usually on a relatively exposed part of the animal, the bat uses its razor-sharp incisors. The wound is small. Blood appears. The bat lowers its head and begins to drink. It does not suck the blood through its teeth. Instead, its tongue repeatedly laps the liquid from the surface. The cow may never wake up. Cattle are not the only possible hosts. Common vampire bats can feed on horses, pigs, goats, and other mammals. Wild mammals can also become food, and under certain circumstances humans can be bitten. Humans are not some preferred supernatural prey. Encounters usually happen where people sleep in environments accessible to bats or where human activity brings vampire bats, livestock, and people into close contact. The amount of blood removed during a single feeding is generally not the greatest danger. Disease is more important. Common vampire bats can transmit rabies. This is particularly significant for livestock in parts of Latin America, and human infections, although much less common, can also occur. But the common vampire bat has another side that is rarely associated with the word vampire. It is an extremely social animal. Living on blood creates a serious problem. A vampire bat cannot survive for very long without feeding. If one individual fails to find food during the night, its situation can quickly become dangerous. And this has produced one of the most remarkable social behaviors among bats. A vampire bat that successfully fed may return to the colony and share part of its meal with another hungry bat by regurgitating blood. This is not simply random generosity. Vampire bats can form long-term social relationships. They groom one another, recognize partners, and repeatedly share food with individuals with which they have developed bonds. The animal famous for taking blood from other creatures can therefore survive because members of its own colony sometimes share that blood with one another. Our second species is very different. Diaemus youngi, the white-winged vampire bat. It lives in tropical regions of Central and South America. It may shelter inside tree hollows, caves, and other protected places during daylight hours. Its name comes from pale or whitish areas on the wings. But the most important difference between Diaemus and Desmodus is not its appearance. It is its choice of prey. The white-winged vampire bat is strongly associated with birds. Instead of concentrating primarily on mammals such as cattle, Diaemus often searches for sleeping birds. Domestic chickens can provide an ideal opportunity. Turkeys and other birds may also become hosts. Picture a chicken sleeping on a branch during the night. Its head is tucked close to its feathers. Its eyes are closed. The surrounding forest or farm is almost completely silent. A white-winged vampire bat approaches. It may land nearby and carefully move toward the sleeping bird. The legs and feet can provide accessible feeding areas. The bat moves slowly because waking the bird could destroy the opportunity. A tiny incision is made. The chicken may barely react. The bat begins to lap the blood. If the bird suddenly moves, the bat can quickly retreat and wait until the animal settles again before attempting to continue. This is a very different strategy from attacking large mammals in open pasture. The prey may be smaller, more alert, and often resting above the ground. Diaemus therefore represents a second solution to the same evolutionary challenge: how to survive entirely on blood. And then there is the third vampire, Diphylla ecaudata, the hairy-legged vampire bat. This species is found from parts of Mexico and Central America into South America. Like the white-winged vampire bat, it is especially associated with feeding on birds. The hairy-legged vampire bat may spend the day inside caves, abandoned structures, tunnels, or hollow trees. Then darkness arrives. The bat leaves its shelter. Its target may again be a sleeping chicken or another bird. Diphylla is particularly well adapted for this diet. Its incisors are extremely sharp, allowing it to create a small wound efficiently. A sleeping bird perched inside a rustic shelter provides exactly the sort of situation a vampire bat can exploit. The bat may approach from beneath the perch. It grips the wood with its feet and thumbs. Above it, the bird sleeps. Slowly, the vampire bat reaches the exposed leg. One small cut. Then it begins feeding. The behavior is quiet and controlled. This is important because vampire bats do not benefit from violent confrontation. Their greatest advantage comes from remaining unnoticed. The longer the host stays calm, the easier it is for the bat to complete its meal safely. Diphylla was long considered a highly specialized bird feeder, but observations have shown that vampire bats can sometimes be more flexible than expected when their environment changes or when normal food sources become difficult to find. There have even been cases in which human blood was detected in the diet of hairy-legged vampire bats. That does not mean these bats normally hunt people. It demonstrates something more interesting. Animals respond to their environment. When forests disappear, livestock arrives, human settlements expand, or natural prey becomes less available, wildlife may begin using new resources. The relationship between vampire bats and humans is therefore partly a story of ecology. The three vampire bats may share the same extraordinary diet, but they do not live exactly the same way. Desmodus rotundus is the species most strongly adapted to feeding on mammals. Cattle, horses, pigs, goats, and other mammals can become hosts. Diaemus youngi, the white-winged vampire bat, is more closely associated with birds. Diphylla ecaudata, the hairy-legged vampire bat, is also primarily an avian blood specialist. And there are other differences. The common vampire bat is exceptionally good at moving across the ground. All three have cutting teeth, specialized digestive systems, and anticoagulant saliva. All must solve the same problem every night. They need to locate a suitable host, approach without being detected, make a small wound, feed, and return safely to their shelter. But perhaps the most important thing to understand is how unusual these animals really are. There are more than 1,400 known bat species in the world. Only 3 are vampire bats. The overwhelming majority never drink blood. Many bats eat insects and can consume large numbers of them during the night. Fruit bats can carry seeds across considerable distances and help forests regenerate. Nectar-feeding bats pollinate flowers. Some species catch fish. Others hunt frogs or small vertebrates. Bats occupy an extraordinary number of ecological roles. The vampire bats represent just one tiny and highly specialized branch of this enormous family. And even the vampire bat itself should not simply be understood as a monster. Its anatomy is a masterpiece of specialization. Its incisors function like incredibly precise cutting instruments. Its saliva maintains blood flow. Its digestive system processes a meal that would be extremely difficult for most mammals to survive on. Its kidneys rapidly eliminate excess water. Its senses help it locate feeding areas. Its limbs allow some species to move efficiently on the ground. And in the common vampire bat, social relationships can literally mean the difference between life and death. As dawn approaches, the 3 vampires return to darkness. Desmodus rotundus disappears into a cave after feeding on a mammal. Diaemus youngi leaves the sleeping birds behind and returns to its shelter. Diphylla ecaudata retreats after another silent night among the trees and farm shelters of tropical America. Inside their colonies, the bats settle down. Some groom their companions. Mothers remain with their young. Individuals rest close together while daylight returns outside. There are no castles, no supernatural creatures, no immortal monsters. Only 3 small mammals shaped by millions of years of evolution. The common vampire bat, Desmodus rotundus. The white-winged vampire bat, Diaemus youngi. And the hairy-legged vampire bat, Diphylla ecaudata. 3 species. 3 specialists of the night. And among more than 1,000 species of bats around the world, they are the only 3 that have made blood their way of life.